continuing our discussion on Anitya Bhavana. The Bhavana is something, it stays deep-seated in our deep pockets of our mind. And it stays there on a permanent basis, and it becomes our state, basically, a state of existence, with a belief which is a permanent belief. And that something operates your thought process, and it operates your activity, and it operates your views, and it basically becomes a way of life. So Anitya Bhavana is one of the bhavanas that we want to really submerge ourselves. So you're like completely surrounded by it. And your mind continuously thinks about that, continuously believes that, and continues to operate your day-to-day activities, believing that everything around us is Anitya. And it is. Physically we have discussed, spiritually we have discussed, physiologically we know that there is a continuous change going on. So when we really realize that, now whatever way you want to believe in it, intellectually or physically or scientifically or spiritually, whichever you look at it, it is Anitya. There is no question about it. And yet the problem is we keep on believing that something permanent is going to come out of it. And that's where we fall short. It's almost like we keep putting the seeds into the ground, thinking the new plants are going to keep coming out. And we keep investing our time and efforts and energy into outside sansar and thinking and that we're going to have rewards which are going to stay with us forever. But it has never happened. Whatever we have accumulated has not stayed with us, and yet we just keep doing it because the whole world is doing it. Our fathers were doing it, our forefathers were doing it, our friends are doing it, the whole society is doing it. So we keep believing in it and we keep doing it. And we just have never thought about doing anything else, like going within. Something that is permanent, that is inside, is something we have not started. It's an inside journey that we have not started. We've been traveling outside. When you want to travel outside, all that means is whatever you have, you want something different. It's a denial or not recognizing what you have and what you are. We are Paramatma. We are the ultimate expression, manifestation of God. And we are not ready to believe that. And we believe that this is just not enough. So we keep on going into the areas where we think something better is going to come out of it. It has never happened. We have gone through millions of our lives where we have never achieved, and we still keep doing the same thing. And yet we think that something is going to come out of it. So there is a way of saying that we are like, one of the ways they had said is like, bhav mein abhav hai, abhav mein bhav hai. Bhav, which is our inside, we think there is something lacking in that. And abhav, outside, there is no Paramatma, but our bhav is inside. So it's like
we are attached to that.
We are attached to that. So how stupid are we? And we keep on living in these dreams, and we keep believing these are for real. Our problem is that we think the dreams are real. These are just the thoughts. These are just the thought processes outside. Ultimately, any experience we go through, what are we left with? An experience. What is an experience? It's a thought. So we are really playing around with our thoughts all the time. So all this outside experience is really nothing. This is just an inflated version of an energy, E equal to mc square. It's just one form, one facet of manifestation of the energy, and it keeps on changing. It's like glittering lights, and we believe it's for real. Rajneesh describes it as these are the flowers made out of space. Funsuk says these are like bubbles in the water. It's not even bubbles in the water. For the bubbles to exist, you need water. But this is not even a water. It's just space. Akash ke phool hai. And that's all there is. It's like we believe in the blueness of the sky. You can't paint the sky. The blueness is just the illusion. And we're living in illusion. Everything around us is an illusion. So the problem is the mind, it has never been satisfied, and yet we keep on believing it, and that's where the problem is. And it's like when we believe and we keep on going after it. Our time, efforts, energy are going after it. But our problem is that we don't want to come out of that illusion, and that's why we're suffering. So they had a joke about some Sardar. A Sardar goes to a doctor, and he says, doctor, I get horrible dreams, and I suffer in the dream so much. Can you do something? Like, for example, so the doctor, I said, what kind of dreams? He said, well, lately I've been seeing monkeys playing football all the time, and they have so many games, and I just get so involved, and then I get exhausted by the end of the night, So the doctor says, okay, I'll give you these pills, Take these pills, and we'll help you sleep better. So tonight, just go home, take this pill, you'll sleep better. He said, no, not tonight. He says, why? Today's final. I want to wait for the final to be over.
You missed it.
So that's where the problem is. We think this is so real. So Jin Chandra Maharaj gives an example of another guy involved in these illusions. He's talking about a Sheth. He's very miser. He doesn't want to spend any money. He just accumulates. For him, accumulating is a way of life. And he never shares anything. And in village, you are usually expected to throw some party for the Nath. You know how the Nath sits out and everybody gets together. And everybody keeps on taking a turn, and that's how the whole community gets together. But he would not spend a single penny. So one day, he was sleeping, and in the sleep in the afternoon, he was having a siesta. And then all of a sudden, he starts thinking that there is tons of sukri he has made, and a nice smell, aroma is coming out of the sukri. And then he's going to start distributing to the whole village and this and that. So in the sleep, he starts shouting to his servant, go, come on. Everybody, tell the whole, everybody, there is a nice sukri ready and this and that. So the servant believes them. So he goes and invites everybody. A couple of hours later, everybody's piling up. They're all right, Sheth after a long time has invited. And then, meanwhile, the Sheth believes that this is for real. So he says everything is there, nice and ready and this and that. But a couple of hours later, he has lost his sleep. He's wide awake. But now people are coming in. Now, he doesn't know what this is about because the dream he forgot. So he asks the servant, why the people are here? He says, well, people are here because you invited everybody. He says, I didn't invite. He says, that's what you told me. He says, oh, I must be in a dream then. Because it's not for real. But now people are real. People are here. Now what is he going to do? So he says, okay, no problem. I have a solution. He says, all right, let everybody come. Now it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. People are hungry now. They want to eat. And so he comes and tells everybody. He says, everybody, fall asleep. I have made the arrangement for you to lie down. We have takia, galicha, everything is ready. So you lie down and go. Whatever I was dreaming, I'm going to serve in the dreams. So whatever sukri I was dreaming about, you will get it in your dreams. So whatever is in the dream, so that's what the problem is.
That Sheth was Sindhi, huh?
Well, I would hope so. He's smart.
So dreams are not real. And that's why our efforts which are going after the sansar, and as long as we believe in it, it's going to exhaust us. But the problem is, if you talk to somebody who believes in it, then you're a fool for him. But the vice versa. So it's your belief that takes you all these places. But if you talk to somebody whose belief is to accumulate just more and more and more, and then you talk to somebody talking about Paramatma and Atma going deep within, then it's useless. He says, what are you talking about? This is real. And the vice versa. And if you believe this is true, so there is a conflict. Of beliefs, basically. Right? So we were talking about the Chakravarti Bharat, who after won the 6 continents he tried to write. So he realized the futility of going through all these things and compare his richness with what we have accumulated. and yet we want to accumulate more and more. So either way, we are trying to be infinite. Either way, by accumulating more, what are we trying to? The psychology behind your efforts and all the external activities that you're doing is basically you trying to expand yourself. From what you are, the physical, your dimensions, your shape and size and your limited existence, you're trying to expand and expand and expand, thinking that someday you will become infinite. And that the question is, have you reached that state yet? Are you ever satisfied? Because satisfied mind, is your mind ever satisfied? What does your history says? All these decades that you have spent, have you reached that state where you have been 100% satisfied? If you have, that's fine. Then that's all you need, because what is the definition of Paramatma? Nistarang Chit means your mind has reached to that state of nirvana, where nothing else is needed. You have no desires left, right? So, this way, if you think you're going to reach that state, have you reached that yet? But no, we have not. And not only that, we are keep on investing more and more time and efforts to do more and more and more. As soon as you reach to one spot that you thought would make you happy, there are more avenues have opened up. And then more, and then more, and then more. If you do that, if you think that you have done that, then also it's fine. There is nothing wrong with it. But traditionally, historically speaking, nobody has reached that. The moment you realize this thing...
But one thing I tell you, those who reach, they will never tell.
Materially speaking.
I'm telling you, Paramatma, those who reach Paramatma, they will never tell.
Agreed. But the thing is that all the direction of the whole sansar is in a wrong way. And that way, nobody has reached Paramatma. So the only other way is to realize your infinite nature and reach Paramatma. Because either way, you're reaching infinite state of mind. So once you go within, then also you start realizing that you are part of something big. So, and say they talk about not just the ordinary human being. He gives an example of Ram. Again, he goes after the golden deer. Everybody knows the golden deer does not exist. He says Ramayana is not so much about Ravan stealing Sita. It's more about Ram getting involved in a golden deer. It's not... Even Ram ran after something he did not have. He got mesmerized. He says the whole thing started from belief that something is missing in my life. I want that golden deer.
But isn't it Sita wanted the deer?
She instigated, yeah?
She instigated, but he believed in it. And he went after it. Now, even a simple person...
I think, you listen to your wife regardless,
कौन ऐसा आदमी है जो अपनी बीवी का नहीं सुनता है?
Exactly.
Now, going in the sansar and going after the objects which we think are permanent and going to bring us the happiness, in fact, we are not realizing that our true nature is Sat Chit Anand. Now, if it is the permanent source of the bliss that is there, the farther you go, the more unhappiness is going to come in your life. So you go a little bit, you're going to be a little bit unhappy. The more you have, the more unhappy you're going to get. That's why when you had, if you think yourself, 20 years back, how happy you were, with how little you had, compared to the more you have, you should be exponentially more happier now.
You do not, yeah.
It's inversely it has happened. Exponentially you have gotten more and more restless, more and more stressed out, and more unhappy. So even that experience should have brought you that when you came first time to America with $24, for some people it was $8.
I came with loans.
Get the loans.
I came with loans.
Right.
Somebody.
They said traditionally, if you think what you were 20 years back, you were a lot more happier then. And for most of us, like we came with $24 in a pocket, we had no possessions, and yet we were a lot happier than what we are now. So theoretically, we should be more happy now. So what does that tell you? That it's taking you away from your true nature of your inner self. And inner self is where all the pleasures are hidden. Kasturi Kundal Basai. The Kasturi is within us. But we are living that. And the more you're trying to achieve, the more materialistic we are getting, and the more we are getting away from Paramatma, and the more unhappy we are. So I'm not saying don't do things that you need to do.
Attached.
Exactly. The more you do it, whatever comes, let it come and become an observer rather than become a doer. Because as a doer, every time you achieve something, your ego gets inflated, that I achieved it. And ego is addictive. And the more you achieve it, the more you want to achieve it. So ego stays alive continuously. But when you realize the futility of the ego, then you become an observer. So whatever comes, it comes. Whatever doesn't, it doesn't. So that's the time and effort is involved with the ego. So Jim Chandra Maharaj says that what kind of mudta and murakta is two different things. So our mind has become mood. It's not that it's not capable of realizing all these things. It's capable, but it selectively has ignored. Because traditionally, if you talk to people, spirituality is a very easy concept to understand, but difficult to accept because of her belief in something else.
Yeah.
So that's murta. See, you know how the story of Mahabharata was that?
Matlabi beharo, just like.
Right, because that's what we want to believe in it. That's what. Right. So, story of Mahabharata is a story of Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, his wife, right? So Dhritarashtra is born blind. So some people, among our human population, will be born that have no capacity to reach enlightenment because they have just no understanding of the outside world, right? But then most of us have that capacity, intellectual, moral, ethical, or religious, whatever ways we can take, we are capable of reaching, but we have selected not to do it. So Gandhari put the blindfolds on her eyes. So in supporting in one way of looking at it, says she was a very faithful wife because she was married to a blind person and she wanted to experience what a blindness can be. So to be faithful to her husband, she decided to be blindfolded herself for the rest of her life. It's a great, sacrifice, this and that. That's not true. The real practical and spiritual understanding of the whole thing is that Dhritarashtra was born blind. He had no capacity to see, right? But Gandhari was something else. She had the capacity, she had the vision, but she decided to be blindfolded. We are not talking about the physical eyes, we're talking about spiritual eyes. So a lot of us are born with the vision. I'm talking about the spiritual vision. Our vision to go inside is there, but we have blindfolded ourselves. And what's going to happen when a product is created out of a blind person and somebody who has vision but has decided to be blind? The product will be 100 Kauravas.
100?
Kauravas.
So
that's a good one.
Sorry.
So the product...
Yeah, you went into silent mode.
So the product of somebody who is naturally blind, spiritually, and is married, I'm not talking about physical marriage, right? I'm talking about somebody you connect with who has decided to be blind. The product of that can be only 100 Kauravas. And what is 100 Kauravas? Are 100 bad thoughts. Pandavas were 5 good thoughts. So everything is metaphorical in Mahabharata. 5 Pandavas means 5 good thoughts. 100 Kauravas is 100 bad thoughts. The battle that is going on is a constant battle we all are facing. Throughout the day, how many bad thoughts you have and how many good thoughts you have. There is a battle going on in our head. 5 good thoughts and 100 bad thoughts. So that's about the right ratio that we all have. Out of 24 hours, none of us have 100 good thoughts and 5 bad thoughts. We always are looking to acquire something, get this, get that, go after this and that. So that's the battle that's continuously going on. But when the product of spiritually blindness is always the bad thoughts. So the good thoughts has to win, because on the side of the good thoughts it's Paramatma. So ultimately, 5 thoughts, good thoughts, has to win over the 100 bad thoughts. And that's the battle we are always facing all the time. So it's all metaphorical. So the question is how real this world is and how we want it to make it real. It's up to us. It's all about belief. If you believe in it, it's real.
What is the exact meaning of metaphor?
Metaphorical is just like a making of a principle. Yeah.
Or it's like imaginary?
Exactly.
Okay.
Metaphorically speaking, like you just make an imagination and then you believe in it. So, good morning. Oh, Mara. Yeah, check it.
Mara move kari par se ka?